I just spent another 5 minutes just kind of changing the colors around, trying to find the right balance. And I also made him black and white. I just went up to adjustments, made him black and white, or you can go up here to adjustments and just applied a black and white filter to him. What it does is it takes all the skin tone and hair color and shirt color out of the mix, and it really brings emphasis on the color of the geometric shapes and also the color on the typography. I just thought it helps simplify everything by taking all those other natural colors out of there. So let's add a sense of texture to the background. Right now it's on plain white background. Let's see if I can't find a quick texture on Pixels. So we could just type in texture, and there's all sorts of stuff here. We don't want anything too busy. Now this would be interesting. You know, I think of graphic design, I think of some texture. There's also this one, which is really probably what we need, something really simple. It's almost like a wall, like a texture of a wall. Let's see how those look. Let's try this one. Bring that in all the way down in the layering system. There it goes. Adds a little pop of texture. We can also sharpen it. We can bring in the other one we had. This one might be a bit too busy, and I'm already kind of seeing that. I mean, I like it, but it's just competing too much with we have a lot going on here. So we don't need anything that's going to compete with what we have. So something super simple like this. So let's add a few more patterns. Let's add some patterns. So let's get a rectangle tool. We're just going to draw a box that goes down here. And let's sharpen the corners, not make them rounded. We're going to add a texture to this, or a pattern. So we're going to go right here and double click to get our layer styles panel up. And this time we're going to click on pattern overlay. It's going to put a pattern right on the shape. And in 2021, they updated this, and they have some horrible patterns of like trees and things that you would almost never use. I really miss the old patterns that they had in Photoshop back 2019 and prior. You can always load. If you go up here, it says load. I don't have it because I already loaded it. It'll be load legacy patterns. So you want to load your legacy pattern right here. Just click on here if you don't see it here. And you'll get an extra little drop down box that says legacy patterns and more. This could always change. So if you don't see this, you might have to download a pattern or create it from scratch. But if you go down to legacy patterns right down here, you have to really dig deep into this. Let me make this bigger. You have legacy default patterns. This is what used to just come up when you went right into the layer styles panel. And I miss these because some of them are pretty cool. So let's go in there and we have lots of different ones. We have a diagonal line. We have these dots as well. So let's do the diagonal line. Click OK. And right now it's on this like white background. That's what patterns are, basically putting an image there. So what we want to do is not have this white background, so we could just do a blending mode. So let's try linear burn, and you will notice there's no effect. That's because we need to rasterize the layer styles on this layer first for it to kind of react. So we need to right click on this layer. So this is this layer right here, right click right here in this open area. We need to not just rasterize the layer. We don't need to do that necessarily, but we need to rasterize the layer style. So when we opened up those layer styles, you're rasterizing it. You're no longer making it editable again. So you're rasterizing the layer style, and now it just becomes an image, one flat image. Now I can go back and I can put on blending modes, and it works. Yay! So now I can do linear burn, which I think works best for that. So now you can see the background popping out through there. Okay, let's do that again. Let's put something down below. Now let's get another rectangle tool. Do a rectangle, and let's double click and add a pattern. Pattern overlay. This time we're going to do dots. Boom, just like that. You can also change the scale it down or scale it larger. If you scale it larger, these are rasterized images, so they don't really look really great when you make it larger. So you just bring it down a little bit, just adding some texture and pattern. Click on OK. Let's right click and rasterize the layer style panel. This is like a regular image now. Now we can do a linear burn. And let's bring it back behind the man so that it doesn't disrupt him. And it just adds a little bit of something. So there you have it. We're done with our YouTube thumbnails. So next we're going to talk about exporting. How do we export these in the best way we can for YouTube? So we're ready to export our YouTube thumbnails out of here and put them on YouTube. So the best way to export them, especially if you have artboards. So if you have artboards, you want to go up to File, Export, Export As. File, Export, Export As. Don't go to Save As. Go to File, Export, Export As. It's going to do something special. I might have gone over this before, but hey, I go over it again because it always helps to review things over and over. Right now, we just have one artboard, so it's going to have it selected. Everything we're going to leave default, and this is the best way to export. What is good about this, if I ever want to upscale or export it as a larger, nicer looking file, I can do a 2x or a 3x. So this is going to double the size. So instead of 1280 by 720, it's going to double that, which is going to make it a nice high resolution. We really just need 1x, but sometimes if you want to put it on something bigger, you could do a 2x or a 3x, just kind of letting you know if you ever have anything blurry or it's just not looking really good. Sometimes exporting a 2x or 3x could fit whatever you're trying to do. But, 1x is default, and that's okay. Export. So here's our JPEG image. Let's go ahead and zoom out, do a visibility test, which is basically testing it out on the final size it's going to be, which is probably going to be right here. Maybe the outline typography doesn't quite work. That's something we can go back and tweak. From stylistically, if it's a pretty big thumbnail, I think it works well. So you just have to see what works out. Make sure you do a visibility test. Is it practical? Does it work? Do I need to change the stroke to a fill on the master and design and the title? That's something that's up for debate. So let's try exporting. So File, Export As. Let's do a 1x. So I can show you the difference between 1x and 2x. So there is a 1x. There is a 2x that we did. Let's see the difference. One of the things you'll notice is the doubling of size. We doubled the resolution basically of this photo. So now you notice when we do artboard, the 2x, it doubled the pixel size. So it doubled the resolution. So 2560 by 1440. And since almost all of this was smart objects or vector type scalable shapes, we don't really lose a lot when we upscale it, which is great. If we didn't have smart objects on and it tried to upscale it to 3x, it could look like really blurry. But since most of this scales up nicely without blurring, we don't have any problem exporting it as a 2x or a 3x. This is when it gets really cool. So let's say I make multiple artboards. So I have the artboard tool selected. I click on my artboard name and I can just click over to this addition. Let's say I have different artboards. Just got my move tool. So I can select my artboard 1. I can select everything in artboard 1. Let's go ahead and go down. Let's unlock this layer. And I can select everything we created. I can just do a copy paste. So Command C and go to Artboard 2 to selecting the name and do a Command V. And it's going to paste everything in there. Or I can do a paste in place, paste special, paste in place, and I don't have to sit there and move it. And so let's say I keep doing this. I selected Artboard 3 and now I can paste special, paste into place, and I can start to make different versions and iterations. So I can change the colors to make them blue or shift them over to one side to see how that looks, if I can make the typography bigger, if that works. So this is great when you have a client who needs to have this done quickly and you could show them a couple of quick variations. Maybe one doesn't have the pattern, one uses a different shape, yada, yada, yada. So now I can easily export all 3 thumbnails. This is great if you have a series. So you have a series that you have 4 or 5 videos coming up. Some YouTubers make 3 videos a week. You can go ahead and create 3 of them in one document and just export it, and you're all done for that week. So you can go to File, Export, Export As, and it's going to have all 3 artboards for us right there. And you can uncheck ones that you don't want. Let's say, oh, I already have that one. You can check them, uncheck them, scale it up if you need to. But I'm just going to leave it at 1x. I think that's fine. We just need 1280 by 720. And you click on export and you're done. So now you have all 3 instantly created And before, you'd have to create a document for each one, which was really annoying. And now I have all 3 JPEGs ready to go. So there you have it. We created 3 YouTube thumbnails in about an hour or less. And hopefully we've learned a couple of new tools like the skew tool. We practiced geometric shapes, patterns, layer styles, and learned a little bit more about layout and telling a story with photos. So I look forward to seeing you in the very next project where we get to do some of this over again and really reiterate what we've been learning.